Welcome everyone, this is your host, Abraham L. Jaguar, a professional game master. First of all, this channel is proudly sponsored by the following publishers, starting with Mythos Games and the Eros Engine core rulebook. This is a standalone tabletop role-playing game, but also works as an add-on to be used with any other tabletop RPG. It focuses on romance, passion, and the physicality of intimate encounters. Definitely check it out. Then we have Dead Studios, the publishers and developers of Dames of Asstoria, a tabletop role-playing game where you play as monster girls experiencing high adventure in a world that doesn't fully accept them. They have also released the Pay What You Want tabletop RPG, Daughters of Lamb, where you get to play as cybernetic nuns with guns, looking for the missing pieces of their AI god. This channel is also proudly sponsored by the Red Room Publishing. Please check out their store for exclusive tabletop RPG products and check out their free tabletop RPG, the Red Role-Playing Game, a generic system that is able to handle any sort of theme, genre, flavor, setting that you can think of. All of the links to these amazing publishers will be in the description and in the pinned comment. But today, we are going to take a closer look at the Red Role-Playing Game. Specifically, this video starts a series of videos examining the Red Role-Playing Game as a solo experience. Can you solo the Red Room Publishing's tabletop RPGs? Of course, of course. And I am going to give you a series of tutorials on how to do that. And I will also showcase how to play the Red Role-Playing Game. Because today we are focusing on character creation. I'm going to be using the Precis Intermediate Dice Roller so that you can see that all my rolls are transparent. But really good roller, by the way, especially if you own several of Precis Intermediate's Genre Diversion and Master Book, Shatter Zone, etc. tabletop RPGs. Really good. When it comes to character creation for a solo tabletop RPG, you can choose to create a single character or many player characters. But for those that are just getting started with solo tabletop RPGs, I would recommend that only one character is used. It's very easy to create characters with the Red Role Playing Game. You have on page 13, as you can see us on screen. Let me verify that you can see it clearly because my head could be in the way. Mm, yeah, it's fine. No, no. Just in case, I'm going to move myself over here. Okay. Creating a character step by step. First, you roll for attributes. This is the foundation. Then you determine the origin and life path. This also gives you a background, but also a few skills and even perks and drawbacks. Depends on the origin and life path. Then you choose an archetype, which grants you a unique feat, a free perk, and sets the stage for skills. Then you allocate starting skill points. And you need to check if your main attribute grants you bonus points. You choose additional perks. This is optional, but I think in most cases, you are pretty much required to do so. That is, if you have a really cool character concept and you take a look at your archetype and you could be thinking, this is missing, right? I think there is only benefits from getting the additional perks and drawbacks. That makes things a bit more interesting and more believable when it comes to a more organic character. Then you calculate health points. Now, here in the calculate health points, if you go, thanks to the greatly organized bookmarks, you can see character creation basics. If you go to this section, you will have an explanation of all of the attributes, understanding the score, etc. But when it comes to health points, it says here, the maximum number of health points a character possesses is determined by the toughness score. This score will only vary if the basic attribute changes. Receiving hits or wounds during combat and environmental dangers or traps that characters encounter temporarily reduce health points. Characters can restore lost health points through rest, medical treatment, or the use of abilities and items specific to healing wounds. So here's the thing it says this is determined by the toughness score, but I don't think this is a good explanation because so it is determined in which way, right? Based on my understanding of the other Red Room Publishing games, I know that the health points are going to be equal to your toughness, and there could be other bonuses, right? But in the case of, let's say, Final Frontier, which is expected to be more um, half pulpy, half 90s sci-fi cartoon type of heroes that are very sturdy. In that case, if I remember correctly, it's your um, toughness multiplied by 2 plus adding bonuses. And so I think here in the health points, it would be better understood as your health points are equal to your toughness score. I think that would be better. All right, let's move to the character. First, our attributes. Let me show you the character sheet so you have a good idea on how things look. As you can see here, let me minimize myself further just to give you a better view. I'm going to make myself really tiny. Okay, you have the player name, the character name, the archetype. You can start with giving your character a name, of course, and you have sections for the experience points in the upper right for the money and the path of sin and virtue. Although that won't be necessary to consider yet, that is for when you are playing. There could be some factors that could affect your sin or your virtue scale. You start in the middle. You have a space for the health, the panic threshold, fear points, attributes. This is what we're going to take a look. Strength, intelligence, wits, agility, toughness, and charisma. So I would recommend that before setting things on your character sheet, you get some scratch paper and then you start arranging some values because otherwise it's going to be very messy with all of the times that you erase and rewrite. That's why when you play the game, it is recommended that you have also pieces of paper to note down the hit points that you are losing, etc. Because by experience, I am telling you, the character sheet will become very messy. All right, let's determine those attributes. So we go to character creation. And it says here, roll 3 6-sided dice for your character's attributes. This is going to give you your score. Do this 6 times to generate scores for all attributes. Hmm. Depending on the game master, it could be a random thing, or it could be he could allow you to place your scores as you see fit. Apart from that, you can fine tune your character by trading 2 points from one attribute to increase another attribute by 1 point. Let's get started. First value, wish me luck, d6. Quantity, 3. 14. In my case, I prefer, let's do it like in order to see what we end up with. 11. 11. Lots of 11s. 9. Oof. Uh-oh. That wasn't too good. 13. Lucky 13. Last roll. 10. So we have a character that is very strong and like medium intelligence, medium wits, not very agile, somewhat tough, and not very charismatic, like average charisma. Sounds a bit like a bruiser. I wonder if I should keep this. Mm, no negative modifiers, which is a good thing. We have a character that is very, very strong. Let's go with that. I already had like a few concepts, but I think it's also fun to work with what you get. Step two, determine your origin and life path. Let me make myself a bit larger now. Um, when it comes to solo tabletop RPGs, the less that you define about your character, the better, in my opinion. Just give it a solid foundation, but everything else could be discovered through roleplay. Determine origin and life path. Let's go. Let's go to the origin and life path. And look, you have all the awesome bookmarks on the right side that will take us immediately. In Red, in the Red role-playing game, characters are shaped by their origins, be it their own past, their families, or their mentors' past. Players roll once for their character's origin and then once or twice, the game master's choice, for significant past episodes on the life path events table. Let's take a look at the origin first. We have the choice of modest or brother possibilities. Let's go for brother. There could be more interesting background stories. I have to be careful with some of the art here. This is good, right? But what we say is some of the art is not YouTube friendly. And it's not going to be like it's not going to get the video banned, but there could be shadow bans. That is when YouTube subtly, which YouTube does several oftentimes with my channel. My videos are oftentimes very hidden from view because I'm not politically correct. And it says here, 1d6 for broader possibilities. After rolling to determine the character's socio-economic origin, the player rolls once more, always a d6, to establish his former occupation or the background of his parents or mentor. Here comes the roll. One die. 4. This means wealthy. Oh, character wealthy. Wealthy. Let's give him. I was thinking of a name, but I still don't know what the character is. I want a name that fits the character. Let's roll again to see exactly how wealthy am I, or within what social department strata I am. 6. A medical doctor. Just in case, this is science fiction YouTube. This is not medical advice. I am a doctor. This gives me a +1 in medicine skill. How did I end up? Well, there are many cases like that. No, I was going to say, with such low intelligence, how did I end up becoming a doctor? Maybe I tried to be a doctor and the career didn't go too well. +1 charisma. Well, that explains how I got into the career. Okay, so our character is a very strong doctor. Now the life path events. You roll a d20 to determine the sorts of the event. Hmm. Let's see. No, this is not it. This d20. Here we go. 5. Uh-oh. Lost a significant other to a mysterious disappearance. What? Lost a mis lost a significant other due to disappearance. She disappeared. My betrothed disappeared. +1 investigation. And drawback depression. Oh, I wasn't too lucky with this. So we have so far a strong doctor that lost his betrothed. His betrothed disappeared, and he got depressed. Hmm, okay, time to choose an archetype. Oh, that is not going to be easy. Let's take a look at the archetypes. There are several, as you can see, archaeologist. Is there a doctor? But this archetype, he could have been a doctor, and then he turned into. What if he was a doctor and he got obsessed with the disappearance? He wasn't like a very skilled doctor, and because of his charisma, he was somewhat of a socialite, not a very effective socialite, but he attempted to move within the circles. That's how he got into the best places to do his practice. Not because he was very skilled, but he was trying to do his best and in getting to know the right people. But because he was so busy with all of that, he didn't pay attention to his betrothed, and suddenly one day went missing. Nobody knew what happened to her. That stuff, that's horrible. This makes me think, how did she disappear? Suddenly, nobody had any idea, no clue as to how. He could have turned into a detective, their detective, investigator, private eye. Hmm. Should we do the private eye? Yes, because maybe that's how he got so strong. He started to work out because he knew had to do some. He had to perhaps bust some heads in order to uh, find out what occurred to his betrothed. Right? That could be the entire plotline. There you go. Here's the solo aspect. During character creation, a spark could be manifested. Now I have the creative idea, the thought that he became a private eye in order to train himself, but his main quest is to discover what happened to his betrothed. So we are going to with the private eye. It would be great if you had bookmarks that could take you to the archetype that you decided to choose. Um, so we're going to go to the private eye. Private eye. Operating at the margin of the law, private eyes are the seekers of hidden truths in a world that thrives on secrecy. They tackle the cases too dirty or too dangerous for others. We have 6 starting skill points. Our primary attribute is wits. Well, we are not particularly witty, but like I said, he turned into to the private eye path because of necessity, of that obsession of finding out what happened to his lover, his beloved. The skill set in investigation, stealth, urban, savvy, influence, technical hand-to-hand combat. No firearms. Choice of a free perk. Fast healer, gunslinger, gunslinger. He does start with a handgun. It makes sense that he also practiced, he knew how to use a gun to protect himself during this dangerous investigation and his lifestyle of being a private eye as well. So we are taking the gunslinger, gunslinger perk. Gunslinger perk. You have the unique feat of investigator's intuition. These uh, private eyes have a knack for sensing when things aren't quite right. They get a +2 bonus to all investigation rolls. I already had a. I'm going to be a really good investigator. I already had that bonus. Investigator. It. I start with binoculars, concealed recorder. Mm-hmm. All right, all right, all right, right. So look, we have already determined so many things. Let's go back to the character creation list on page 13. We already have the archetype. Allocate starting skill points. Maybe your main attribute grants some bonus points. Let's check that out. Mm-mm. No, it's pretty average. Wits, pretty average. Yeah, no modifier. Oof! Because it says the allocation of starting skill points for each character is influenced by two main factors: the archetype, the character score, in the major attribute associated with the archetype. Mm-hmm. No, we don't have bonus, so we go to skills. Hmm. Now I have a choice here. Should I spread my points across various skills, or should I be a bit more specialized? When it comes to investigation, we already have a pretty good boost. So investigation. I think I'm going to leave it as it is because of my background. So it would be +1 because my significant other disappeared according to the origin, and also I also have the investigator fit, but +2 bonus to all investigation rolls. So investigation, I'm going to leave it at 1. We still have 6 points, 6 skill points. I think it's better to spread out because I'm going to be a solo character. Stealth, urban, savvy. Stealth 1, urban, savvy 1. 4 points left. Inf influence 1. I think this solo campaign should be set in the early 2000s. Influence 1. Mm, technical, but an alternate early 2000s so that I have a bit more, how you say, elbow room, some area, some space to do some things that are a bit extraordinary when compared to our real life, at least as we are experiencing it today. I have 2 points. One is going to be for technical. Yeah, no, I already chose that. One is going to be hand to hand. Hand to hand. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One left. 1 point left. Hmm. Let me check again the list. Great characters. Aha. Allocate starting skill points. Hmm. If I take a look at the gunslinger pit perk, gunslinger. The gunslinger perk ensures that characters excel in drawing and firing in combat situations. allowing them to always act first in ranged combat. In encounters involving more than one gunslinger, normal initiative rules apply, so I always get to act first. Yeah, I was just thinking if I should put aside. Let's see. All characters currently possess a set of basic skills that do not require the allocation of skill points to use. Climb, hiding, native language, etc. Every character automatically has a modest proficiency with these skills, plus one bonus. Don't forget that when you're creating your character, add plus one to these basic skills. If a player wishes to enhance the character's abilities beyond the basic level, they must invest in relevant advanced skills. For example, athletics to improve that particular skill. Hmm. You know what? I'm going to turn myself into. I'm going to put another point in investigation because, after all, this is a doctor that started to work out. He's not very skilled when it comes to the use of firearms, especially due to his agility and his. He's not exactly the most agile, dexterous of individuals. So he just learned how to use the gun, but he's not very good at shooting. Although he did work out, he's a bit of a bruiser. So he's mostly focused on the private eye skill set, focusing on uh, putting emphasis on investigation. Now let's take a look at the character creation steps. And it says here, after all, we are not min-maxing. If you want to min-max, go ahead, but I'm more interested on it making sense with the character's personal background. Choose additional perks, optional. Hmm, perks. But I need to choose a drawback as well. What could it be? Could it be? I think we are good. I was thinking about choosing another perk if I didn't have a drawback, but I don't know. Healing hands. Putting a bit more emphasis on the doctor, but is this well with the Red Room Publishing tabletop RPG? You can visualize or paint the various abilities, weapons, objects, perks, however you want them to be. This system allows you to play things as a sci-fi game or as a fantasy game, but this is more like a modern, semi-realistic approach in my case for this solo campaign. So I think the perk of healing hands, putting emphasis on how I was trying to become a doctor, is going to give me a bonus in medicine rolls. So healing hands it is. Healing hands perk. But now I need to choose a drawback, another drawback. I'm already depressed, and now, well, just in case this science fiction YouTube, you know how it is. And when inconvenient people say that they are depressed, they sometimes mysteriously disappear in science fiction, and they said, well, he was thinking of and unaliving himself, right? But no, but yes, not this science fiction. Mm, what could fit my my doctor turned detective as a drawback, as something bad? It makes sense that he was depressed because his betrothed was taken from him. How about we make him, where is it? Give him a homicidal mania. When his betrothed disappeared, he snapped. He snapped. So now that's the drawback. Homicidal, homicidal mania. Now he feels this compulsion to slay anyone who opposes him. You need to make a roll. Homicidal. Homicidal, homicidal mania. I remember reading this one when I was first taking a look at the Red Roleplaying Game, and I thought that fits a character that suffered some sort of tragedy. You could say that Batman could be a potential homicidal maniac because for those of you that do not know, Batman, he doesn't kill his enemies. He doesn't want to kill, but he more than something moral, he does it because he knows that the moment he decides to kill, he is going to turn into a villain. That is, it's a mental problem he has because he saw his parents getting shot when he was a kid. So he had all of that pent up rage, right? The frustration. So that's why Batman doesn't kill. And I wonder, this could be like a similar situation in which this character is constantly wrestling with the frustration, the pent up anger that he lost his beloved. Let's take a look at the character creation steps. Um, let's see. Calculate health points. Of course, we have them equal to our toughness, 13. But now, starting year. This is somewhat of a lengthy process, so I'm just going to give you the explanation, and I will get my gear um, uh, out of when I turn off the camera. But basically, it's an abstract system of acquisition. In like it says here, instead of dealing with detailed accounting of the player character's money, Red employs an acquisition roll to determine whether a character can buy an item. When a, excuse me. Oh no, I'm always eating toast for breakfast, and sometimes it gets stuck. When a player wants to purchase something, the game master assigns a target number to each item or service. You have this section with the numbers. When a character seeks to buy something, the player rolls a d20 and adds all applicable modifiers. If the total is equal to or greater than the item's target number, the character can purchase the item. If the total is less, no. A reroll may be attempted later, but unless the circumstances have changed, it will be made at a -1 penalty. That is, when we start the game, we could try to acquire the gear, but with a penalty. And that's pretty much it when you create your character. A very simple process because, like I said, I'm going to check the gear later on so that I don't have to subject you to the process of let's see if I rolled to obtain this flashlight, or let's see if it's you know very simple process. Like I said, if you want to purchase a flashlight, I think the number was 10. You roll a d20, and if you rolled, let's say 12, 13, oh, you got it. You rolled 7, 8, you couldn't purchase it, which is weird, right? Why wouldn't you be able to purchase a flashlight? Maybe that also means that the character was not very prepared. He had or he lost his flashlight. It broke, so the adventure starts when your flashlight was missing or broken or whatever. But just 7 steps to follow. Roll for attributes. Determine origin and life path. This is going to give you skills and perhaps even perks or drawbacks. Choose an archetype, which grants you a unique feat, a free perk, and sets the stage for your skills. That is, it gives you your skills, your area of expertise. You allocate the starting skill points. You choose additional perks and drawbacks. This is optional. You calculate your health points and you get your starting gear. But as you can see, when it comes to solo gaming, solo tabletop role playing games, the very process of character creation has not only given us a prologue to the character, the situation, this guy, early doctor. Oh, let's give him a name, by the way. Let's give him a name. We shall call him Nathan. Nathan. Now something that sounds detective and doctory at the same time. Hmm. Nathan Jones Higgins. Nathan Jones Higgins at your service. He was aiming to be a great doctor even though he was not very skilled. He did learn many things during his apprenticeship and his practice, but he was mostly moving within his social circles, advancing, succeeding, making progress due to getting along with people, despite not being very good at it. He was striving for that. He had to push to push. He had to put so much work into learning how to be an effective doctor and going to parties and socializing all the time. He didn't notice that his betrothed, his beloved, she was just before they were planning the wedding. He didn't notice that she was in trouble, some kind of trouble. Suddenly disappeared. He doesn't know where she is. So he abandoned everything, decided to become a private eye. Meanwhile, making a living by investigating other cases, but working out to deal with whatever villain took his beloved. Also got a bit of training when it comes to firearms, even though he is not very precise. Very interesting background story, right? And he's struggling with depression and homicidal mania because he's depressed that he couldn't do anything. He didn't pay enough attention to her, and now he's has this pent up maniacal rage. So yes, this has been the character creation process for the upcoming solo series. Thank you for watching this video, this presentation of the free tabletop role playing game, the Red RPG. What are you waiting for? Get it. It's free. Go to their website, get it. There are plenty of other tabletop RPGs at the store that focus on various genres, styles of play, but they are all, how you say, heavily modified versions of the free Red system. So you miss nothing. You can only benefit from downloading this free tabletop RPG and start creating some characters of your own to play with your friends or in a solo session. Like I said, this is just the start of the solo series. I'm going to make various videos, including an actual play, so you can see how we can solo roleplay with the Red system. Thank you for watching this video once again. And don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, consider joining as a member using the super thanks button. Like, subscribe, take a look at the information in the description and in the pinned comment. This has been your host, Abraham L. Jaguar, a professional game master, and remember, tabletop role-playing games. You are not telling stories about your characters. You are experiencing the game world as your characters. Once again, thank you and see you later.